Hey guys, today we are going to talk about measures of central tendency, and we're going to do that by filling out one of these doodle sheets. Okay, so if you look at the very top of your doodle sheet, the directions say to describe each measure and how to find it. Then in the example box for each, we're going to calculate the measure for the full data set shown. That's the prices of the t-shirts on the entire page. So you can see down through the middle of our boxes, we have little t-shirts in there, and it has the price of the t-shirt on top of it. So those prices are going to be our data set. Okay, and then we have to list and define the measures of central tendency in the middle. We're going to doodle, color, and embellish as we go. Okay, so go ahead and pick out a couple of different colors of markers that you would like to use for today. I'm going to be using three different colors as I work. Feel free to do three, and then we can always go back in and add some more color and doodle later. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go to the center first. And we're going to be filling in some notes here as we go. So measures of central tendency. So measures of central tendency, the definition of it is these are the values that represent the center or typical item in a data set. So again, we're looking for the center or the middle. So like what we said, kind of like the typical, okay? So the measures of central tendency include mean, median, whoops, mode. And then our last one that we have on our sheet is actually range, but that is not included. So we're just going to do a little arrow here, and I'm going to say not range. We are going to talk about how we find the range of a data set, but that is not one of our measures of central tendency. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to go up here, and we are just going to start with our upper left-hand corner, and we're going to talk about what the mean is. So I always remembered mean as it's the mean one. It's the hardest or the most work. I guess it's not really hard. It's just the most work because it takes a little bit more calculation to figure this one out. So when we talk about mean, we're finding the average. Okay, and the average is best found if we have no outliers. So I'm just going to put in parentheses here, best if we have no, I'm going to stretch out this no, make it kind of fun here, no outliers. And you might be thinking, well, what is an outlier? So if you go over to this little starburst on the side here, we're actually going to define what an outlier is. Okay, so I'm just going to change my pen color real quick, and you can change up your markers if you'd like. So an outlier can skew the mean. So if we look at all of our numbers that we have listed or values that we have listed for our t-shirts around our page, we can see that we have lots of different values there. I'm actually going to list them here in this example box because we're going to use it later. And we're just going to list them in order from least to greatest. And then we'll talk more about what this outlier is. So if you look at the t-shirts, you can see we have one t-shirt is $4. We have another t-shirt that's $4.50. We have another t-shirt that's $6.50. We have a $7 t-shirt, an $8 t-shirt. We have another $8 t-shirt, a $9 t-shirt, a $9.99 t-shirt, another $9.99 t-shirt, and then we have one t-shirt that's $28. So when we're talking about outliers, an outlier is a number that's pretty far away from all the numbers in our data set. So on this particular example, we do have one outlier, and the outlier would be that 28. So I'm going back to that starburst there, and I'm just going to put 28. So that's the example of the outlier in this particular data set. So again, an outlier, I'm just going to draw a little arrow out here off to the side. So this is just a super high or low number. Okay, a super high or low number. Okay, so let's talk about how we find the average of a data set. So all you're going to do is you're going to find the sum. And if you guys remember from our previous units, sum just means you're adding. So you're going to find the sum of all data values. That means all the numbers in our data set. So we're going to add them all up. And then the next thing that you're going to do is you're actually going to divide. So we're going to use that fraction bar because remember, again, we know that the fraction bar means to divide. I'm just going to put a little arrow out here. So you're going to divide then. Okay, and we divide by the number of data values. Okay, so let's look at our example. Again, we already listed all of our values, so we're just going to add, we're going to add 4 plus 450 plus 650 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 999 and 999 again, and then 28. And you can use your calculator for that, so I went ahead and added it together, and I got it to equal $94.98. And then we have to divide by however many numbers that we just added together. So I'm just going to count them, and as I count them, I'm just going to cross them off to make sure I don't miss anything. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So 10 numbers, so that means I'm going to divide by 10. And again, you can use your calculators, and it comes out to 9.498. Again, we're talking about money, so I'm going to round this to the nearest hundredths place. So it's $9.50. So the mean for this example would be $9.50. You can bubble it, you can starburst it, whatever you want to do so that you know that is our answer. Okay. So let's go ahead and go on. We're going to slide over here now to our next measure of central tendency that we're going to talk about, and that is our median. Okay, so the median, if you've ever been driving in the car, you might have heard your parents talk about the median in the road. That's just the middle. It's the middle number. So under your what, you're going to write middle. I'm just going to do a tall, skinny font for this one. Middle. And then for number, I'm not going to write the word number. I'm going to use the little hashtag mark, which also is the symbol that means number. I'm just going to make it a little bit thicker here with one of my marker colors. And then I'm going to take a second marker color, go with my green, and I'm going to outline it. So it's just our middle number. Okay, back to my blue. So how do we find the middle number? So all you're going to do is you're going to take your data values and you're going to put in order, and we're going to go least to greatest. So I'm just going to do a big old L here. Least. Just fill that in, make it a little bit thicker. least, and then I'm gonna draw my little arrow here, least. We're going to the greatest. So I'm just gonna put a big G. And again, I'm just gonna color that in and make it a little bit thicker. Least to greatest, okay? And then once we've put them in order from least to greatest, you're just gonna find the center number. Okay, my pen just a little bit thicker here. So for example, again, if we listed all of our numbers, and this is the price of our t-shirts, so we had a $4 t-shirt, $4.50, I'll list them all again, $6.50, 7, an 8, another 8, a 9, a $9.99, another $9.99, and then that 28. Okay, so to find the middle number, I find it easiest if I just start crossing off, and I'm going to start with the smallest number and the largest number. So I say one from each end, and then the second smallest, second largest, third smallest, third largest, fourth smallest, fourth largest, and then you can see we get down to where we have two numbers in the middle. This one works out nice because they're both the same number. But you guys, there's going to be times where it's just going to be one number is your middle number and that is just your median. That works out like that. That's totally fine. And then there's other times where you might be going and you find that you have more than one number in the middle and they're not the same number. So let's take a look at an example like that. Okay, so let's say I'm just going to make up another data set here for us to use as an example. So let's say that if we had 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, and 11 in our data set. And we wanted to find what is the median or the middle number. So again, I'm going to cross off my smallest and my largest, my next smallest, my next largest. And then you can see this time we get down to two numbers in the middle and we have 7 and 8. So you're actually going to find their mean or their average. Okay, sometimes it's really easy and I could just look at those two numbers and I know what's going to be right in the middle of 7 and 8. But if you don't know, then you can go through the process of finding the mean. So I would just take 7 plus 8 and then divide by 2. And that's going to give us our mean. So 7 plus 8 is 15. And then 15 divided by 2 gives us 7 and 5/10 or 7.5. So we know that for this data set, the mean is 7 and 5/10 or 7.5. Okay, so sometimes we do have to do that. Okay, so up in that little starburst in the upper right-hand corner, it does say if there appears to be two numbers in the middle, their mean, remember, is the average, mean is the median. Okay. All right, so that's median. Let's go ahead and we're going to now scroll down and we're going to talk about our mode. Okay, so mode, this one has a little play on our words. This is actually the value appearing the most. So most is my keyword, so I'm going to write that a little bit bigger. I'm going to actually fill in this M and the O, and I'm going to tell you why here in just a second. I'm going to make those two letters stand out a little bit more than the other ones. So most, we're just going to make it a little bit thicker. Then I'm going to go back in here with another color, and I'm just going to go over my M and my O. So here's why I'm going over the M and the O. If you look at the word mode, mode starts with an M and an O, and so does the word most. So I always just remember mode is the one that shows up the most. Mode, most. So that might help you if you're having a hard time remembering what our words mean or what our different measures of central tendency mean. So that's just something that could help you out with that. Okay, so again, let's talk about how we find the mode of our data set. This one's actually really easy because you are just going to count. So we are just going to count. And so what we mean by that is what you're going to do is you're going to actually go through here and we'll list our numbers, and you're going to find the one that appears the most often just by counting to see which ones show up the most. I'm just going back in here and jazzing this up a little bit with one of my other marker colors. So we're going to count. Okay, so let's list our values in our data set. So again, we had $4.50. We had $6.50. We had a $7 t-shirt, an 8, another 8, a 9, a $9.99, another $9.99, and then a 28. So we're just looking for any values that repeat themselves. So when we look at this, I actually see that I have 2 8s, but I also have 2 9.99s. So this particular data set actually has 2 modes because they both showed up twice. So our mode for this would just be 8 and 9.99. Okay, so and down here in our little starburst, it says there can be one mode. Sorry, let me fix this. There can be one mode, no mode, or more than one mode. Okay, just like our example that we just had. All right, the last box that we're going to take a look at is our range box. Again, remember, this is not one of our measures of central tendency, but it is something else that we talk about when we are dealing with data sets. Okay, so we're going to slide over to range here. So let's first just go ahead and define what is the range of a data set. So the range is just the span of the data. Okay, so span just means that we're looking at our largest number down to what's our smallest number and what's the distance between those two values. Okay, so I'm just going to go back here. Just kind of adding a little detail on my word span. Okay, the span. So how do we find the range of a data set? Well, all you're going to do is you're actually going to subtract. Okay, we're going to subtract. I'm going to change my marker color for just a moment here. Add in a few little things. Just some different colors to kind of make my doodle notes a little bit more fun to look at. Okay, so we're going to subtract. And when we subtract, you are looking at the greatest number in your data set, and then you're going to minus the least number in your data set. Okay, so we are going to be minusing. Okay, so let's again take a look at the values in our data set. So I'm going to list them out here for my example. You guys probably have this memorized now. So we have a 4 of $4.50, a $6.50, a 7, an 8, another 8, a 9, a 9.99, another 9.99, and then that 28. Okay, so we are just going to subtract. We're looking at the largest number, which in this case is 28. So we're going to take 28 and we're going to minus our least value, which is 4. 28 minus 4 gives me 24. So I know that the range for this particular data set is just 24. And again, you can bubble it, you can starburst it, whatever you want to do so that you know that that's your answer for this particular example. Okay. All right, guys. So I know that there's not, I haven't showed you a ton of the doodle part of it. Down here at the bottom, there is a spot for you to put your name. So go ahead and add your name to the bottom there. And now you have a chance to just kind of go back in and add in some details and things to your doodle sheet, and you're going to glue this into your spiral when you are finished. I will show you guys, I have a couple of examples of ones that I've done, so I'll show you guys those in class. I'll have them up, and then I'm actually going to go in and I'm going to go and color this in. I'm not going to keep going on the video with it, just because I know that that could be kind of take some time and might be a little bit boring to watch. So I will take a screenshot when I am all finished, and I'll add it onto our Canvas page. And then, like I said, put this in your spirals because you are going to be using this tomorrow for our assignment on mean, median, mode, and range.